Okay, today before going for the storage classes, first let us see what is the scope rules. First of all, what do you mean by scope? Scope means the visibility or the availability of a particular variable or a function, right, to another functions is called as a scope. Scope means the visibility or the availability of a particular variable, or it can be a function to another functions is called scope. Is called scope. So what is this actually means? Till now we have written the programs. When we were written the programs, we have declared the variable, or when we are talking of the functions also, we have seen that we have written in the function itself. In the main function we have written, or when we have read, for example, we have taken a factorial function. In the factorial function we have written separately the variable fact or some f or n or I. That variables were only accessible in that particular function factorial. Or similarly, the variables which were taken in the main function were only accessible in the main function. Why it was so? Because the scope of that was only limited to that particular function. The scope means the availability of the variable, right, or the visibility of the variable, that is usage of that particular variable is only limited to that particular function where we declare. Okay, now what are the different types of scopes what we have? We have two types of scopes. There are two types of scopes. One is called as the local scope. The second is called as the global scope. What is a local scope? What is a global scope? The definition of when we look at the local scope, right? The variable or the function is only available or limited to that particular function where we have declared it. Right? That is called as a local scope. So we can say that what is the definition of this? What is the definition of local scope? What is the definition of local scope? Let us say that the availability or visibility of the variable or function is limited only to a particular function or a block where the particular variable oblique function is declared. That means a particular block, if you have declared a variable, it is only available in that particular block. Okay, it is not available beyond that particular function or particular block. That is what we say it as a global local scope. So when we talk of a global scope, when we say what is a global scope, right? So when we are saying that what is a global scope, the availability or the availability or the visibility of the variable oblique function is throughout the program, but not limited to a particular block oblique function is called global scope is called global scope. So that means this particular variable or the function what you have taken will be available for the complete program. That means all the functions or the blocks, everywhere you can access that particular variable or the function. That is what we call it as a global, right? So now let us take an example, okay, and I'll show you what is the local scope and what is the global scope. Now let us take a small program. So when we talk, for example, in this particular this one, I take an integer I is equal to 10, and for example we declare a function example. Let us take it does not return anything, so it is void example, does not take any values. So a function prototype is given, right? Now I like to print the value printf. I'll say percentile d, I'll say I value is printed, and thereafter I'm calling the function example, right? And again I'll say printf percentile d I, and then close. And let us write the function also for this. Let us take the function example. It is what? Void example, not taking any parameters, right? Let us take int I is equal to 20, say printf percentile d I, and close. Let us see what is the output of this particular program. What is the output of this particular program? When you look at it, okay, what is the output? Let us see the output of this particular program. We have taken an int I, so I'll take, for better understanding, let us consider the memory also. There are variables I which is declared, which is initialized to 10 directly at this particular point of time. And there is an example, a prototype function is also declared, okay. And then we have seen a printf statement. When we see this printf statement, what is going to print here? Percentile d I. What I is going to be printed? There are two i's available. One is what? In the main function, the other I is in the example function. But this particular I which is declared in the main function is accessible or visible or available only to this particular block of statement, that is main. And similarly, this I which is declared in the example function, I is only accessible or visible only in the example function, right? So when we are asking the printf statement here high, it directly looks in for the variable I, right, which is part of this particular function main. Okay, what is the part of function main? That is I is equal to 10. So I'm going to have the output as 10. Thereafter, there is a function call being given example. So from here, the control moves to this particular place. There you find void example, right? Not taking any parameters, but inside there is one variable which got created. That variable is another I, right? Another I, for example, this is another I, which value is 20. Maybe this is located at 3184. This is maybe located at 4226. Right? Now, please understand that the next there is a statement printf. This printf statement, when it gets executed, it is printing I value. Which I value does it print? I, now when it looks at it, it looks for the I which is visible in this particular block. It is visible in this particular block. What is visible in this particular block now for I here for us here? It is 20. Which I is going to be visible in the example function what is being declared. So it is going to be 20. So I'm going to have the output as 20. Now after that, from here, remember from here it has given back, it has come to this particular place where it was called. Got it? Right? So now I have seen one more statement, printf. This particular printf statement gets executed now. Which value, which I value as to printed. But what is the value of I here? This I which is looking at is going to be available in the local. In this particular block only it is available, right? It is not available outside. Okay. Now what will happen here? I is what? 10, right? So what is the value of I? 10. So it prints 10. It prints 10. That means once actually what happened is there is something called as the not only visibility, availability, right? Availability of the variable, right? Also throughout the program, is it available or is it available only to that particular block? And once you exit from the block, whether that particular variable is available or not is also very, very important, which we are going to see in the storage classes actually, right? Now, once again, for example, I am calling once again the function example here. So once again, the example function has been called. What will happen from here? The whatever was the function which is there, now from here again it is going to be called to this particular function. You're gone there. Now when you're gone there, again void example, earlier I which was there, please understand now, the earlier I which was got created does not exist anymore. Does not exist anymore. When it came out of this particular function, the availability of that I variable is no longer in use. It is dead. The variable is dead. It is not available at all afterwards, right? So once again, when you call this particular function, once again a new variable I gets created. Maybe at that particular, this one is not available now. Not available. Once it is not available, till the function is there, till you are there in the function, the variable is available. Once you came out of that particular function or the block, the availability does not exist, right? So in the storage classes, we are going to see how to make a variable available during the function calls or complete during the program, right? That we are going to discuss in the storage class. As of now, once again, what will happen here? I means a new I got created with equal to 20, right? With equal to 20. So once again, what is going to happen? That statement will print 20 and it comes back from here, right? Once it comes back to this particular place here, right? It comes back. Now please understand that that means there are two things which we have discussed now. One is the visibility and accessibility of the variable. The other one is availability actually. So availability also changes. Availability of the variable means it is nothing but we also call it as longevity. Until when the variable is alive is available. Afterwards, when it would be dead, when it would not be available. Also, we are going to discuss in the storage class. Now here, please understand what we are discussing is the scope. In the scope, we are saying that here in this particular case, the scope of this I is local scope, and this I is also local scope. So when it is local, what will happen is that particular variable, right, is available or is only usable or accessible in that particular block of statements or in the function what we have declared. So this is completely a block now. In this particular block, I is available, right? I is available. Now, for example, let us assume that this particular there is a change which I would like to make this one. Let us select. Okay, now let us take the same. Okay, now let us consider that this particular declaration is not available. This particular declaration is not available. If that is not available, then what will happen here is you will get an error. Why you get an error? Why you get an error? Because it says that I is not available. Why I was not available was it was searching for the declaration of I in this particular actually block. If it was not available in the block, it searches for the global declaration. Was it available globally? Global declaration means I am going to declare the variable outside the void main. During the structure of the C program, we have seen first what hash include, hash define, and then there is a global declaration part. Now we are going to see what is that global declaration part. So here, for I'll take for example, int I is equal to 20 means once this particular I is declared in the global declaration part, this variable I becomes a global variable. Global means the scope is it is available to all the functions, all the blocks across the program. Now what will happen here is, for example, this was I'll say 30, right? Now there is no I declared in the function where example. However, there will not be an error here, but the output what would be shown here is I'm going to have output as 30 is going to be the output. Why it is going to be 30? Because it is actually looking for the local variable, but local is not available. It looks for the global variable and prints the global variable, right? Now, for example, assume that I don't even have a declaration here int I is equal to 10.